Yo, what's good, people? It is currently 11 minutes past 10 p.m. UK time, Sunday, the 17th of August, 2025. Welcome to another amazing episode of Technically Speaking, which is a free weekly stocks, crypto, macro webinar hosted on the Blockchain Sensei platform. Well, YouTube replay on Blockchain Sensei platform, hosted by myself, Fatima Effendi, aka Ninja T, one of the original founders of Blockchain Sensei. We are a financial literacy, crypto education, and consultation company. Before I get started, I would like to iterate that everything in this video is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I do not intend to be perceived or received as a financial advisor. If you are looking specifically for financial advice, Blockchain Sensei is not where you will find it. Feel free to get in touch with myself or Blockchain Sensei if you are in search for a financial advisor, and I will recommend you to somebody accredited. I also go as far to add to the statement that I do not have any financial qualifications. I don't even have a degree. I'm just somebody who has taken a interest in finance and crypto and tech as of the past 10 years. So, before we get started, I would like to iterate that altcoin season is here. It has begun. We're about 3 to 4 weeks into it. And I think that we're going to go through a huge generational run between now and March 2026. Or I'm also, upon confirmation of new data, open to the idea of an extended bull market and super cycle, which every single day I'm slightly more convinced we are going through. Why? Historically speaking, I wish I had a graph right now. When we go through a delayed cutting cycle, so a delay in the Federal Reserve cutting interest rates, we typically have an extended cycle, right? Now, rate cuts, the interest rates were not cut at the last FOMC meeting, but it is extremely likely that rates will be cut as of mid-September, and that is what the market is pricing in. I'm extremely bullish on the market for the next 30 days. If the interest rates turn out to be a seldom news event, that will be a huge buying opportunity. Not that there's not amazing buy opportunities right now. So let's get started. Oh, also, I know we are not in euphoria right now well, one of the metrics I measure is how many people attend the webinar. I know there's a correlation between asset prices spiking and people attending the live. By the way, come to this live every single Sunday, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. The link is in the blockchain.sensei Instagram bio, and of course, catch the replays on YouTube. Okay, let's get rid of that for a second. So, as I said in multiple webinars before, the first website I look at all the time is, well, it was FijiSolutions.net, but they have a new website now, finance.fijisolutions.net, a slightly nicer interface. And for those who haven't been to webinars before or have forgot, this basically measures liquidity in the Fed. So we can see here that that we are still not at the highs of early this year. I expect liquidity to swing up, which will be positive for asset prices. I also want to make a prediction 2 weeks in advance. 2 weeks in advance, as this has been the trend for the whole year. The reverse repurchase agreement, which basically has an inverse relationship to liquidity, has a trend to spike at the end of the month, which pulls back liquidity. So I think we're going to be bullish for the next 2 weeks, pull back at the end of the month, and then be bullish into mid-September. And that's kind of my macro prediction. Charts.checkonchain.com. This measures on-chain data. You can go, when you go on the website, it's typically on light mode. However, I like to put it on dark mode. One really good on-chain data set is the Bitcoin topping model. As you can see, historically, as we get closer to this red band, has indicated cycle tops. We're still quite far away from that. And according to this metric, we're nowhere near that cycle top till at least 137k BTC. Remember also that in a bull market and euphoria, Bitcoin can pull back whilst altcoins rise. Skip up the short-term holder MVRV, that's fine. Just having a look at some other metrics, but nothing too important. This one here is the supply and profit and loss ratio. So the short-term holder supply and profit and loss ratio. This basically measures Bitcoin holders that have been holding Bitcoin for 155 days or less. As we can see, we're setting higher highs and higher lows on this, basically just confirming bullish momentum. Gonna get rid of this, get rid of this, and get rid of this. Now, there's two articles that I'd really like to go through. These articles are by Thomas on Markets, who I repeatedly said is, you know what's interesting? For the whole year, I've said that Thomas on Markets is the most important person to follow on Twitter. I think he struck a deal with Milk Road because he doesn't seem to tweet a lot anymore, and he seems to posted new information on Milk Road Macro. So I've got two really, really important articles. One that I posted on the Blockchain Sensei Twitter, Blockchain Sensei Instagram, to do with Trump making changes at the Fed. And there's a new article that I have not read yet. And then after these articles, I'll go through some kind of fundamental mindsets and then go over some technical analysis. So Trump is making his mark at the Fed, the Federal Reserve, the institution that basically decide if the money printer goes brrr or not. So this article was published 5 days ago. Things are changing in the Fed. Stable coins are eating the world. The Fed shifts are ahead. AI prints billions. Okay, so let's have a look. US 10-year yield currently at 4.27%. So that's when you lock up your money with the US government. In fact, yields are actually long-term yields are actually going up in terms of the major institutions, major countries, should I say, US, Japan, Germany, which isn't actually so favorable for risk on assets, but I do believe this will be offset by liquidity. So things are changing at the Federal Reserve. You know what? Salman sent me this article. Salman, he's actually here on this call, so I appreciate him sending this. So Donald Trump is getting a firm grip on the Federal Reserve. Now, before I get into this article, let me tell you one of the biggest things in kind of politics and monetary policy that's happening right now. Jerome Powell, who is the Fed chair of the Federal Reserve, so basically the person in charge. Yeah, so in fact, I'm just gonna come off camera right now. Hello, hello, hello. iPhone enter the room. Who's this?
Hi.
Hello, hello, hello.
In quickly.
You guys, 1 second. Yo, yo, yo. Sorry, I've just got my audio back. iPhone, who's this?
It's me, Senna.
Oh my God. Yes, yes, yes. Long time, long time. How you doing, homie? Where are you? Are you in Indonesia or somewhere else in the world? Flying on a beach?
No, I'm in Malta. I'm flying to UK tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Well, safe journey back to the UK.
Yes, thanks. You good?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm good, thank you. How you been?
Yes, good. A bit busy actually. Tired. Today I had a very long day, but I just thought like let me join, Let me join, see
100%
what you gotta
appreciate
say
you.
to me this
Yes,
evening.
yes, 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 yes. I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. Okay, so yeah, Trump what was I saying before? Yes, one of the big things in the Federal Reserve right now, the biggest, I guess you say, disputes in politics is that Jerome Powell, who is the head of federal, the ultimate decider of monetary policy, um, he is, for lack of better words, not a friend to Trump. In terms of he has been the person to decide that interest rates are not being cut, and this is what we want. So things are changing at the Fed. Donald Trump is slowly getting a firm grip on the Federal Reserve. He's adamant that interest rates must be slashed and has been attacking the Fed, Jerome Powell, for months now, publicly. And this past Friday, Trump appointed a new Fed governor, meaning things might get spicy. This person will not be the new Fed chair and will only be around temporarily. But let's have a look at this new kid on the block. His name is Steve Moran, and he is very, very pro-Trump. Moran will likely take a seat on the Fed board immediately and will vote on rate decisions at the upcoming Fed meetings, the next one being mid-September. But just to make things crystal clear, it's been confirmed that Moran is not Trump's pick for the Fed next chair. He will only fill the open governor role temporarily until January 2026. This gives Trump more time to decide who he'd like to nominate for the top job when Jerome Powell's term ends in May 2026. Now, one of the reasons why, and I'm not saying we're going to go through this super cycle, I'm still planning for an approximately March 2026 exit in the market, mainly in stable coins. That's my consensus now. Things may change. However, if we get a ultra pro Trump, let's slash the interest rates down to near zero Fed chairman that continues to slash, we may see an extended bull market. However, picking Moran was a big surprise, and his presence could mean things get heated at the Federal Reserve for the short time he's there. Why? Because Moran wants rate cuts and he wants them now. He disagrees with Powell a lot with regards to tariff inflation. Basically, what Trump thinks he's on the same kind of ideological thinking. He's got some big opinions on the Federal Reserve as an institution. He's basically been very vocal and public about the flaws of the Federal Reserve. And finally, of course, he's a big Bitcoin advocate. So last week it emerged that Christopher Waller is now a clear favorite to become the next Fed chair. Waller is already a governor on the Fed board, and he's currently particularly dovish. So basically reducing interest rates. At the most recent FOMC meeting in July, Waller called for a rate cut, making clear he had concerns over deteriorating labor market. Maybe this was his job application before President Trump. Waller has reportedly met with wider Trump team about the Fed chair role and is believed to be the most favored candidate currently, according to reports. So basically, the next appointed Fed chair is pro-Trump, and that's the lead. And we've recently just had Steve Moran. If I'm not mistaken, there's only about a dozen people in the Fed who make the decisions, so it's not a lot of people. At the most recent FOMC meeting in July, Waller called for a rate cut, making clear he had concerns over deterioration. Oh, I just read that. Odds that Waller will become the next Fed chair have jumped higher on the betting markets. So according to Polymarket, Christopher Waller is the most likely candidate. Trump's continuous heated attacks on Powell have triggered questions about whether his next pick to lead the Fed will damage the independence of the central bank. Appointing a full-on Trump loyalist to Fed chair could be a bad idea because the Treasury market might freak out amid concerns about Fed independence. But Waller, having been a fairly well-respected member of the Fed for years, might be a pick that is more easily digested by the markets. Waller said in April that the Fed's independence is critical to the well-functioning of the U.S. economy. Yeah, just so you guys understand as well, unlike in the UK, the Fed is separate. The Fed is separate from the government. So it's not like the government can overrule the Fed. So they say. Wrapping up, Trump is slowly getting his grip on the Federal Reserve. Moran might ruffle some feathers in the short term, and he's another almost certain dove. So basically reduce interest rates on the Fed board, potentially increasing the likelihood of rate cuts in the coming months. So if it's dovish, it basically means cutting rate cuts, and hawkish means increasing. But the bigger question is, who will become the next Fed chair? Waller will be a sensible pick, likely avoiding any potential negative reaction from the markets concerning Fed independence, as he probably won't just blindly follow along with anything and everything Trump says. So let's have a look at the stablecoins. The bit on stablecoins. Stablecoins are about to shake up the game. We sat down with, can't say a name, to explore why stablecoins can be the most disruptive force in payments in decades. Can't bother watching this. Let's leave that. Basically, all you got to understand is stablecoins have gone from this. I don't know if this is really the digital dollar to this is absolutely the digital dollar. I would not put my life savings in USDT, but I would literally rather have USDC than pound sterling. USDC is owned by Coinbase and Circle, both of which are on the American stock market now. And USDC is backed 1-for-1 by the dollar. If you can imagine, now the Fed, the American government, have an extra digital printer outside of the Fed to basically create coins out of nowhere. This is going to really weaken the dollar, but be really good for risk on assets. Okay, so I've not read this article at all, so I'm excited to check this with you guys. September rate cut locked and loaded. What's the latest on inflation? Forex Factory. Let's see if this is the right website. Let that load. GM, this is macro. What's going on with inflation data? Have a look. What's going on with inflation data? Inflation data released this week painted a confusing picture for markets. First, CPI, that's the Consumer Price Index, so basically the kind of average of a basket of goods, showed that there's little sign of feared inflationary effects of tariffs. This is good. So expectations of Federal Reserve interest rates cuts surged. It looks like President Trump might finally be getting the rate cuts that he's been calling for, and of course, what we as crypto investors have been calling for. But then further, PPI data changed the whole picture. So what's going on? Let's take a look. So what happened with inflation data on Tuesday? Consumer price inflation data was released, and here's a picture of the CPI cooling on a month-to-month basis of 0.2%, and remaining steady on the year-on-year basis. And here's the picture of the core CPI, which strips out. Okay, whatever. This was a mixed bag CPI print. In general, both CPI and core CPI have been creeping up in recent months, but the real signal was in the details. The big pickup in consumer price index was mostly fueled by services prices. While goods prices rose at a tame price, this means the dreaded tariff inflation that many people have been expecting is still not materializing in any meaningful way in CPI data. Basically, shit for Americans is the same price. If it was, goods prices should be climbing faster. The bottom line, it looked like the Fed's persistent excuse for not cutting interest rates, a pickup in goods inflation due to tariffs, was losing its power. So, is the September rate cut locked in? Okay, Ellen Zettner of Morgan Stanley said, these numbers should allow the Fed to focus on labor market weakness and keep a September rate cut on the table. Alexander Wilson Alexander of Goldman Sachs said, this inflation print supports the narrative of an insurance rate cut in September, which will be a key driving force of markets. Rick Ryder of, okay, so we've got someone from Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, and BlackRock. Went even further, this is the biggest asset management company in the world, and these guys manage multi-trillions. Went even further, hinting that a 50 basis points cut could be warranted in September. This basically means 0.5%. That is a lot, by the way. Usually, it's cut by 25 basis points. He said the inflation print gives the Fed the green light to lower interest rates in September and possibly more aggressive than a standard move, which is usually 25 basis points. Earlier today, traders were pricing a 95 point. Oh yeah, this is from the CME Fed Watch. There's basically a 95.8% probability of the 25, so 0.25% rate cut in September, according to the CME's Fed Watch. Then PPI changed the picture. This is the producer price inflation. Basically, CPI is to do with how much things cost, and PPI is how much things cost to make. And usually, a spike in the PPI spills over to a spike in the CPI, because if it costs more to produce things, then usually that cost is spread onto the customer. So today, PPI, producer price inflation data, was released, and it was scorching hot. PPI increased 0.9% month on month against expectations of 0.2. Again, the CPI has been increasing month on month by 0.3. So this was a huge spike, and it increased 3.3% year on year against expectations of 2.5. This suggests that companies might be starting to feel the heat from tariffs and could pass along higher costs to consumers. Suddenly, the picture for rate cuts is now much less clear. Wrapping up, inflation is currently moving in the wrong direction. Both CPI and core CPI have been generally ticking up on a year-on-year basis over the past few months, and PPI also just registered its largely monthly rise since 2022, which was a bear market. This leaves the Fed in a bit of a pickle. On one hand, the concerning jobs report 2 weeks ago might suggest weakness in the labor market. But on the other hand, inflation looks like it's on the rise, and today's huge PPI surge will be particularly concerning. Overall, we're in an unusual situation globally. Fund managers are expecting inflation to rise across the world, but interest rates remain flat or fall, according to Bank of America's Global Fund Manager Survey. Yeah, interest rates have been flat for the whole of the year, so I don't think that's bearish. It's only bearish if interest rates increase, which is almost definitely not going to happen. If interest rates do increase, that is when you might want to look at de-risking. Fund managers are expecting inflation to rise, but rates to remain flat or fall. As I mentioned previously, the final verdict on US rate cuts may come on August the 22nd, so key date, when Fed Chair Jerome Powell delivers his annual speech at the Jackson Hole. Can't say that word. Powell could either give the green light to a restart of rate cuts or possibly shatter market expectations of rate cuts. So keep your eyes peeled for the Jackson Hole. All right, interesting. So let's move on to technicals. All right, you know what? I'm just going to start off with a gem. Okay, so the gem is a company called Verb Technology. So who are Verb Technology? This is a stock. They are a company in the Nasdaq. So they're a US tech company. They have a market cap of 35 million. Verb Yahoo Finance. Okay, so I think this could be one of them absolutely stock bangers. It obviously has a lot to fall, but it has so much to rise. I can't even do the math on that. I think that's like 100. Is that 1,500x? Something crazy, right? Even the journey from I'm not saying it's going to go to 751, but even the journey back to this May 2023 high is 30x. Now, why am I so bullish on the stock? So this is a micro stock. This is a micro stock. Come on. With only can't find not this market cap intraday. With the stocks in tens of millions of market cap, they have not this market cap intraday. Basically, the stock's in tens of millions of market cap, and they have recently raised over $500 million to buy up 5% of the ton supply. So there is a narrative right now in the stock market, and I can't ignore this play, even though I'm a crypto guy, that just like with the previous cycle, there is sometimes a beta play for assets in the stock market, especially when it's a treasury company. So TON, which has been a slow burner throughout this whole cycle, but it's going to have its time. It's going to have its time. The Telegram Open Network, basically the Telegram blockchain, the app that has 8 to 10% of user adoption in the world, right? I can't even believe this is below Litecoin. What the hell? This is probably one of the best investments at today's price, at today's time. Yeah. So TON, the Telegram. So think about this, right? I'm trying to take you through this fundamental journey, and dumbing down my dozens of hours of research. So TON is a Telegram open network. Okay. Telegram is one of the most valuable companies in the world, and anyone with a Telegram can have an in-app wallet, whether you know that or not. In fact, in-app Telegram wallets that were banned in America have recently been reinstated. Big ups Trump for that, because I'm sure he doesn't want to miss out on digital dollars being transferred across the world. So TON right now is breaking out slowly and surely out of its dominance. So this is the TON market cap dominance. TON right now makes up less than 0.23% of the crypto market. I'm sure we're going to swing back to these 1% highs. Or more, right? Or more. Now, if you believe in Telegram and you use Telegram, or you know what Telegram is, you'll know that it is a superior app to WhatsApp. And then you do research on Telegram, right? On a technical basis as well, outside of fundamentals, Toncoin is breaking out. Okay, I'm super pro Toncoin on the long term. You can see here on the weekly or the 8-day, we've had a bullish crossover on the MACD, bullish momentum forming, and a nice bullish momentum springboard of the RSI, right? Where do I think Tom's going to go this cycle? I think it could go to $40 to $50, which is absolutely a fantastic return, no doubt. However, Verb, you have, let's have a look at something. Does it say here in the news? Mm, okay, so I can't be bothered pulling up the article. It's not too hard to find. But they've basically raised $500 million, which is like 12x the market cap of the actual stock. To buy what they intend to be 5% of the ton supply. It's going to take a minute for the ton narrative to re-emerge. Right now, Ethereum is taking the spotlight. It's going to take a minute for ton to get the spotlight because of capital rotation. But in my opinion, right, this could be one of the most lucrative investments in the stock market right now at today's price. Now, a recent example on why I think of this thesis is because of a stock called SharpLink Gaming. This is going to be the micro strategy of the cycle. Okay. Look, almost nobody's talking about this, but if I go on the daily time frame, between the 16th of May and the 30th of May, SharpLink Gaming did a 75x. Why? Because under the hood, under my hood, it didn't even come in my radar, they basically became the biggest company in the stock market to hold Ethereum. Sorry, the company in the stock market to hold the most Ethereum. Now, as you can see, the price action on this is absolutely brazy. We did a 75x, then took a 92% drawdown. And in this accumulation zone here, between the 16th of June and the 3rd of July, anywhere in this zone, we bounced up and did 4.5x from here to here. By the way, guys, for anyone watching this live and also on the replay, the most important tool that you will use is this tool, the ruler tool. Left click up, right click up. That's it. Okay, everyone just know about indicators and chart patterns and Fibonacci sequences and all that kind of stuff. None of those things are invalid, but honestly, the ruler tool is king. Now, anything below $10 is a load the boat price. Yeah. The journey from this $10 snap here back to this high here, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to hit somewhere this year, is a 10x. Sharp Link Gaming. Remember, just because I said it can 10x doesn't mean it can't go down by 57% in between, right? This stock here has literally proved how crazy the narrative of crypto treasuries can be. I know it's mainly a crypto webinar, but I would urge you to look into Verb Technologies. I would urge everyone to look at if you don't understand Ton, you need to understand. Okay, here are the steps. You need to, if you don't use Telegram, you need to use Telegram. I'm sure a lot of people watching this use Telegram because you wouldn't be in crypto. You wouldn't be in crypto if you weren't on Telegram for the most part. But I understand there's some newbies here. So study Telegram, right? Pavel Durov, Toncoin. And then if you believe in Telegram and Toncoin and Pavel, this is the beta play. I'm not crazy for saying that this can do a 300x, right? I'm not saying it will. But Sharp Link Gaming in 2 weeks did their 50x. Okay, Ethereum still rising. I think Sharp Link Gaming will go to at least $130 in this cycle. That was the January 2023 high. I'm assuming they had some kind of stock split, which is the reason why the stocks fell so much, and maybe just not a good narrative. But yeah, biggest public company with an Ethereum treasury, Sharp Link Gaming and Verb are the two stocks that I am eyeing up. Okay, so let's have a peep at some other things. Always looking at the SIXRE. As historically this real estate company, the S&P 500, was in line with the 2021 bull market. Okay, COVID crash, 2021 bull market into the bear market. I'm just waiting for it to break out of this range. I don't know if it will, but this will basically be further confirmation to me of the bull market. If it continues to go sideways, that's fine. It's only bearish if it goes down. Okay, here I'll be questioning like, why the hell is this happening? Also have a look at RWA and REIT that basically have a similar price action. Let's have a look at the Chinese dollar. As we can see, the Chinese yuan continues to outperform the dollar since the tariffs because the dollar has been weakening. This is good. This is good for risk on assets. We want the dollar to keep falling. What else? Yeah, I'm waiting for this copper gold ratio to recover because typically a rise in the copper gold ratio, basically the price of copper in gold, has coincided with bull markets. So I'll show you. Look, lockdown, the whole of the 2021 bull market, the 2017 bull market, the 2021 bull market, and then here, the 2013 bull market, right? So one of the reasons why I believe we're going through a delayed bull market is because even though asset prices are going up, certain things are not working out. When it costs more gold to buy copper, this means that usually, because even though gold is the more valuable asset in terms of jewelry, copper is the most useful asset, right? When there's more and more copper being used in the world, usually it's reflected in industrial, etc. Okay, so Nasdaq top 100 US tech is at all-time highs, and so is the S&P 500, the highest it's ever been in human history ever. Okay, and I expect this liquidity to pour into crypto faster than you think. Gold sitting at all-time highs, which I'm really surprised about. I'm ultra bullish. 1 second. When BTC USD, gold USD, as in I'm bullish already. I'm bullish. What is this? What? BTC USD XAU USD, maybe. Oh my God, have we actually broke the all-time high now? No. When we cross this level here, when it cost 40 bars of 40 ounces of gold to buy one BTC, I think that's when we're going to be in euphoria. We're still in pre-euphoria right now, which is amazing. In fact, you know what would be really, really funny? If I just go to Google Trends. Let's have a look at where crypto searches are right now. That'd be really interesting. Okay, let's go over some more assets. You know what's interesting? I remember exiting Tesla because of the whole Elon and Trump beef, but I think that Elon's cooled himself down. I do think Tesla will swing back round to 415 by the end of the year. And we're looking in a position there. Any options traders in Tesla, I would be long for the rest of the year. You can see here bearish exhaustion. And you have the RSI creeping over the yellow here, so that could be good. Meta, Facebook is at all-time high. Zuck's absolutely killing it. Let's have a look. Let's just have a look at cryptos in terms of search term. Where are we right now? Snapchat, I'm going to call it. I think this is the Snapchat bottom. I think right now is the Snapchat bottom. We can see here that the gap has filled here. I think I'd be super surprised if we go any lower. I'd be super surprised if we go any lower on Snapchat. If anybody wants to buy something on discount. And yeah, PayPal still ranging here, but I'm pretty sure we're going to break out this range at some point. If anybody wants something for the long term. Coinbase, I do believe that it is after reaching the heights of 448. I do believe today's price is a good price with Coinbase. If we get a flash crash and fill in this gap here, which is very unlikely at 232, this would be kind of like a load the boat level here, around 230 and 250. However, today's price is a good price. We've retraced by 33%, and I do believe that with the base chain, the more likely direction for Coinbase stock is up. And then these lows basically are higher lows in relation to this. I'll be very surprised if we go down further, but today's price is a good price for Coinbase. Okay, let's go over crypto. Crypto total market cap taken a slight pullback, which is fine. If we on the RS crypto total this
Hey,
is very,
Kunja.
yeah.
Oh, you come back on now. Sorry, your audio went for a bit.
All right. Okay. No worries. Okay. Let me show you guys something very, very interesting. Right. So crypto total market cap. This is how this is. Let's look at crypto total market cap. This is literally the early signs of alt seasons. Guys, if you are not well allocated now, like my boy Salman here, you know what I mean? You want to have a look at your position. So
My
let's
friend.
observe
Don't
something,
put any
right?
leaders
So
already.
crypto total market cap. So crypto total market cap is 40% from the high, right? That's all the money in crypto, mainly driven by Bitcoin. Crypto total market cap, excluding Bitcoin, is just about touching the high. Yeah, just about. Minus Bitcoin and Ethereum, we're just about there. And crypto 10, we're just about. So what do we expect? We expect to follow. Sorry, no, here, right? We've way past it. We've way past this high here, right? We're way above it now. Way above it. We've cleared it. Minus Bitcoin, there's the same amount of money in crypto than there was at the top of the previous cycle. So we're going to pace through this, right? More money is going to come in crypto and more of it's going to flow into alt. So we're going to pace here. This is minus Bitcoin, Ethereum, right? So all the other alts. And this is the true crypto 10 and others. In fact, others is still below the highs of where we were earlier this year. This is the clearest sign that altcoins are undervalued, right? Especially things, you know, they're just obvious, like Dogecoin. This is like my public shill of the year, because I can't be shilling too much, and this is something I can have enough confidence in, right? Look, we're 2x from this high, and it makes sense that we're 2x from this high, because when it comes to others, all the money in crypto minus the top 10, we're still far from highs we were earlier this year and in 2024. I remember this period. I remember being in the trenches in October 2023, all the way to this time here, and then the market pulled back, and it was a brutal 9 months. But I remember the euphoria. We are taking from someone who's lived through multiple market cycles. I know when we're in pre-euphoria, and I'm telling you guys, need to load the boat. Right. So Bitcoin at all-time highs. I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin cools off to maybe 109. So, as I've said time and time again, the most important chart that shows that we're progressing into all season is the ETH BTC ratio, the price of Bitcoin in Ethereum. As it costs more and more Bitcoins, more and more Satoshis to buy ETH, as it costs more and more Satoshis to buy ETH, is early signs of all season. Remember, money flows historically from Bitcoin to ETH into alts. I know it's not always this smooth, but BEA, Bitcoin Ethereum alts, right? Now, ETH is absolutely surging. Wow, that is crazy. ETH is literally at all-time highs. I wouldn't be surprised if we took a pullback to even closer to 4K. At this point, you know, don't be surprised if something like this happens. This is also within the scope of scope of possible realities as well. If ETH goes to let's say 3.5 to 3.3K, you want to accumulate some, that could be the price. As we can see here, the USDT and USDC dominance. So the percentage of the market in stablecoin is declining. This is good. Okay. Typically, when you see a spike in stablecoins, it usually means assets are going down because the whales are cashing out in dollars. Okay, so this is further confluence, further positive confluence. Notice how the all-time high of stablecoins was literally the bear market low. This is BTC ATL, all-time low, right? Since the bottom of the bear market. And notice how the stablecoin has never been this high ever again. And it's been declining slowly whilst Bitcoin's been climbing. But in the short term, you can use such metrics like the market was falling all the way from the start of the year and bottomed out pretty much here. And it's reflected in USDT dominance. Dogecoin, don't want to keep talking about Dogecoin. And then another way to look at analysis is dominance. Okay, not just price. Every single time Dogecoin has broke this dominance, it's been in line with rising price action. This is not just Dogecoin. This is basically all coins. Because if you imagine, if the percentage of the market goes from 0.73% to 2% in Dogecoin, yeah, that is going to result in a rise in the price. Already spoke about Ton. Aerodrome is absolutely flying. Cheese. Nice. Damn, that's really good. I also wouldn't rule out. I know you can have this kind of thought process, and I'm guilty of it too, where you look at something and you think, you know what? It's only 68% from the high. Okay. But that is not considering, like, if you rewind history, what was happening in December 2024? This is December 2024. And this high was April 2024. Yeah. This was a different time period. Coinbase is now at all-time highs. Okay, Circle is on the stock market now. So please do not discount in pre-euphoria. I don't usually advocate for buying the top, but in my opinion, Aerodrome still has a long way to go. I'm talking tens of billions of dollars. And my basic reasoning is in the previous cycle, where we had $1 trillion less money than we have today, Uniswap went to exactly how many billion it was. Let's have a look. Yeah, Uniswap went to 21 billion. So do I think Aerodrome has a bright future? Yes. I think Aerodrome will go to $10, $20 in the cycle. So but remember, it can also go down 50%, and Aerodrome can retrace back to this level and it still be ultra bullish. Because remember, usually with price, there needs to be it needs to be filled, right? So that we may revisit this level again at some point. And please bear in mind that Aerodrome RSI, I cannot deny, is at the high of January 2024. Do I expect Aerodrome to pull back a bit? Yes. How low? Maybe $1.13, right? If it ever goes back to $1, consider loading the boat. Okay, Brett, biggest meme coin on base, hasn't really started moving yet. So this could be a good bet. It could be a good bet on Brett. Let's just see. I think he listed this on Coinbase Exchange. Let's look what it like. Hello, volume there going. Oh, they haven't listed it on Coinbase. I'm sure they will. Toshi, this is one of my top picks. Because if you download the base wallet, you'll find that Toshi Mart, which is like this meme website, it's advertised on the main base decentralized wallet as a top application. I think Toshi has a bright future, and I think it will be listed on Coinbase. Like 230 million market cap right now. It could even overtake Brett, but we'll see. Sui. I'm not a Sui bull, but I know that historically speaking, this has led the altcoin run. So if you have a position, I would hold the line. I think everything is bullish on SUI. An ETH beta that will almost indefinitely have its time, that is extremely undervalued, is AVAX. They use Ethereum technology, not quite a layer two. They use something called the C chain, and right now this is basically ultra mega price suppression right now. AVAX is a clear runner in the cycle, and you want to be finding things that have not broken out yet. So this has not broken out the range, where like even to these highs, it's over 100%. Back to November highs, 563%. AVAX is a huge runner, and I do believe in AVAX technology. Again, on the dominance here, we can see that in times it spiked, and increased market share is in line with when the price spikes. BNB, I think we're climbing towards $1,000. This is basically similar price action to Bitcoin, but basically lagging behind. This basically looks like the Bitcoin chart. After that, what else we're gonna look at? You know what? We're gonna end with two of my favorite meme coins. So, worthless. Okay, what I've charted here. Okay, so what is worthless? First of all, worthless is a meme coin that came out on Moonshot. So there are three main launch pads on Solana. There's Pump Fun, which is taking the main market share. There's Let's Bonk, owned by Bonk, which is pretty much the official Solana meme coin, and there's Moonshot. Now, I'm jumping on my phone, by the way. The USP of Moonshot is it helps onboard. It helps onboard non-crypto natives because it is one of the only ways to pay via Apple Pay. It's very popular in America, right? And Trump's coin was launched on Moonshot. Now, I need to go because I have an early flight. Take care, Senna, and safe flight. All right, so okay, let's go over this thesis real quick. So if you guys go to the official, in fact, I can't bother loading pages. Right, so if you go to the official Moonshot Twitter, which again is basically the third biggest launch pad on Solana, you'll find them continuously reposting and engaging with this coin, right? The volume is just not coming Moonshot as a platform yet, and I think this is positioned to be one of the biggest coins. I think this will exceed 100 million market cap. The story is that the dev sold early on, and then a CTO was basically Nikolai Hawk, who's kind of like a crypto influencer, educator. I mean, he's paid this gold group. This guy has basically been leading the charge, and I would watch his YouTube videos to check, to kind of understand his thesis on this. But I'm going to do one thing that I don't do on YouTube very often. I used to do, but now I don't do so often. And that I want to show you guys, the sound and watching, yeah, the consistency of look. People think the money's made in the buy and the sell, but the money's made in the buy, the sell, the buy, the sell, buy, and then sell, and then buy, and then sell, and then you see here on the top two, I'm only selling to buy back lower. I sold at 8:19 a.m. I bought back at 10 p.m. 12 hours later. Yeah. And one second, let me stop sharing for a second. I'm pretty strict on trading notes. Trading notes. So look here. On this account, I did all these buys just with 2.7, which is my latest buy here, right? I'm currently 5.826 Solana profit on this particular trading account. And I also have 113 coins. So I'm way in profit and I still have loads of coin. Let's say the coin goes back to all-time high, which I'm 99% confident it will do. That's 2.6K right there, which is another 13 Solana, around $200 Solana price, right? So stick to your trading plan, take your notes, make sure you know your average price. I'm going to end with one more thing, and then I'll take a question from my boy Salman, unless he wants to ask me privately off stream. I know this sounds so gay, right? But in line with the Jupiter ecosystem, I think one of the best risk to reward coins right now is a coin called Uranus. Right. I know it sounds crazy, but I would watch Crypto King's thesis on this. Basically, Jupiter continue to innovate, and at this point in the cycle, I don't think they're going to be taken over. I think Jupiter are officially the DEX of Solana. It's just what it is for this whole cycle. And there is a meta, right? Like meme coins follow meta and narratives. Meow, the synonymous name of the founder of Jupiter, he's shilling this. Elon Musk has put it in the mind share of the world. I like to have a look at my pairs on deck screener against Solana because I trade against Sol typically. But as you can see, we've pretty much bottomed out. We're setting higher highs and higher lows. I think that this is going to be a multi-$100 million coin. That's what I think. We ran up to if I just go to the market cap, go to USD. I think all-time high market cap was around 100 mil. Okay, 80, which is like a 2x. But I think there's been so much thesis that I've read around this. The best one being from the Crypto King. I think it's worth looking at a sizable allocation with Solana, DCAing. Okay. I'm gonna come in one more time on my phone. Salman, have you got a question you want to ask publicly, or do you're gonna save it for off recording?
No. No, nothing.
No question. Okay, no worries. So I just want to iterate. The money is in the consistent buy, right? Let me go over my psychology. So I bought 2 Solana's worth 5 days ago. Okay, I'd done my research and I thought, let me get my position in. This is my position. Position means that if the coin were to go up by a lot tomorrow, would you have enough allocation to be happy? I thought, yeah, 2 Sol. It's like a 40 Sol trading account. Cool, let me get 5% exposure. And then I've been DCAing in. As you can see, the second time I bought, I got it for a better price, right? 219 times 4 is 880. So this is the second buy was a better buy price than the first buy. And then the third buy is an even better price. You know what? We'll end with this. We'll end with a live buy. We'll end with a live buy. Why not? We'll buy half a Solana of Uranus. And that concludes today's episode of Technically Speaking. Let me just come on camera. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you guys on a Sunday call. Take care, guys.